The massive space station hung in the void like a metal mountain. Its dark surface reflected the light from the distant star, casting long shadows across the docking bays where ships from across the galaxy waited. Ambassador Lisa Carter pressed, her face against the small window of the human transport ship, and watched the station grow larger as they approached. "First time seeing something this big?" asked Colonel Jake Morrison from the seat beside her. His military uniform was crisp and clean, but Lisa could see the worry in his eyes. "Nothing like this," Lisa replied. She had seen pictures, but the Galactic Council station was beyond anything Earth had ever built. The thing was 10 miles long and 5 miles wide. Entire cities could fit inside its hull. Dr. Amanda Ross looked up from her tablet, where she had been reading files about the alien species they would meet. "The Zephyrians built this station 200 years ago," she said. "They wanted to show everyone in the galaxy how powerful they were." Lisa nodded but said nothing. That was exactly what worried her. The Zephyrians had invited Earth to peace talks, but everyone knew it was really about surrender. The reptile-like aliens had conquered 17 star systems in the past century. Their war fleets were legend across the galaxy. Earth had exactly 12 military ships, and most of them were converted cargo vessels. The transport ship shuddered as it entered the station's docking bay. Through the walls, Lisa could hear the hiss of air being pumped into the bay and the clang of metal on metal as docking clamps locked their ship in place. Her stomach felt tight with fear, but she forced herself to stand straight. She was Earth's chief diplomat. Millions of people were counting on her to find a way to keep humanity alive. The airlock opened with a soft whoosh. Beyond it stood 3 aliens waiting to greet them. Lisa recognized the Zephyrian immediately. War Commander Thexaval was 8 feet tall with dark green scales and yellow eyes that seemed to look right through her. His claws clicked against the metal floor as he moved. "Humans," Thexaval said in perfect English. His voice sounded like gravel being crushed. "Welcome to the Galactic Council Station. I am War Commander Thexval of the Zephyrian Empire." Lisa stepped forward and gave a small bow. "I am Ambassador Lisa Carter, representing Earth and all human colonies. Thank you for agreeing to these talks." Thexval's mouth opened slightly, showing rows of sharp teeth that might have been a smile. "Of course. It is always better to discuss terms before a war begins. Come. The council waits." They followed the aliens through long corridors, filled with beings Lisa had only seen in pictures. Tall, thin creatures that looked like they were made of glass floated past without touching the ground. 6-legged, insect-like aliens skittered along the walls, their compound eyes tracking every movement. In one corner, a being that looked like living crystal hummed to itself in musical tones. "How many species are in the council?" Amanda asked quietly. 47, replied one of their escorts. A floating creature with silver skin and no visible mouth. Though only 12 have voting rights. The rest are protectorates. Lisa felt her heart sink. Protectorates meant conquered peoples who had lost their independence. Was that what Earth would become? The main council chamber was enormous. A circular room with seats arranged in rising tiers, like an ancient Roman arena. At the center sat a round table where the real negotiations would happen. Lisa counted the seats quickly. There were places for 5 beings at the table. War Commander Thexval took his seat across from where Lisa would sit. To his left sat a floating Vorthak, its silver skin shimmering under the lights. To his right was a klaxon, its insect head turning to watch Lisa with faceted eyes. At the far end of the table sat an Ashuri, the crystal being humming softly. Lisa took her seat with Jake and Amanda on either side of her. The weight of 47 alien species watching from the gallery pressed down on her shoulders. Most of them looked curious, but not particularly concerned. To them, this was just another conquered species joining the fold. "Let us begin," Thexaval said. He placed a metal device on the table and pressed a button. A holographic display appeared showing star maps of human space. Red markers indicated Zephyrian fleet positions. There were hundreds of them. As you can see, Thexval continued, my forces currently surround all major human colonies. Your military consists of 12 ships, most of which are outdated cargo vessels with weapons attached. Our intelligence indicates that Earth itself has minimal orbital defenses. Lisa forced herself to remain calm. Everything he said was true, or at least appeared to be true. We hope these talks can prevent any conflict. Humanity seeks only to coexist peacefully with other species. Thexval's teeth showed again. Peace is possible. The Zephyrian Empire is not unreasonable. We offer humanity the chance to become a protectorate. You will maintain limited self-government of your internal affairs. In exchange, you will provide resources and labor to the Empire as needed. And if we refuse? Jake asked. Then my fleets will begin bombardment of your outer colonies in 72 hours, Thexval replied without emotion. Starting with New Montana and working inward until Earth itself submits. The chamber fell silent. Lisa could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. Around the gallery, alien faces watched with the same detached interest they might show for a sporting event. We need time to consider your offer, Lisa said carefully. You have until tomorrow at this time, Thexval said. The Empire has been generous enough to offer terms at all. Most species we encounter do not receive such courtesy. The Vorthak spoke for the first time, its voice like wind through hollow metal. The Zephyrian terms are reasonable by galactic standards. Most protectorates live comfortable lives under Empire protection. Lisa noticed how the other council members nodded agreement. They had all made the same choice when faced with Zephyrian power. Submit or die. We understand, Lisa said. Tomorrow we will give you our answer. As the session ended and aliens began, filing out of the chamber, Amanda leaned close to Lisa's ear. Did you notice something? She whispered. What? None of them asked us any questions about Earth. No curiosity about our technology, our culture, our capabilities. They think they already know everything about us. Lisa nodded slowly. That was interesting. Very interesting indeed. As they walked back to their quarters, Jake activated a small device on his belt and spoke quietly into it. The harvest moon rises, he said. To anyone listening, it sounded like poetry, but Lisa knew better. The message would travel through quantum channels back to Earth, where very important people were waiting to hear those exact words. The peace talks were about to collapse, but Earth was ready. Lisa Carter woke to the sound of her door chime. She had barely slept, her mind racing through possible responses to the Zephyrian ultimatum. When she opened the door, Jake Morrison stood outside with a grim expression. We need to talk, he said. Something has happened. They met in Amanda's room, which she had turned into a makeshift laboratory. Alien plant samples sat in small containers on her desk, along with several scanning devices. Amanda looked up from her work with tired eyes. What's the situation? Lisa asked. Jake activated a small holographic projector. 20 minutes ago, a human colony ship entered Zephyrian space. The ship was carrying 300 families to establish a new settlement on Kepler 438c. The hologram showed a simple cargo vessel drifting through space. Lisa recognized the design. It was one of Earth's standard colony ships, built to carry families and supplies to new worlds. The Zephyrians destroyed it, Jake continued. Complete annihilation. No survivors. Lisa felt cold. 300 people? That's what they want us to think, Amanda said quietly. She stood up from her desk and moved to the window. Jake, show her the sensor readings. Jake pressed another button. The hologram changed to show detailed scans of the destroyed ship. Look at the debris pattern, and here the energy signatures from the explosions. Lisa studied the data, but she was a diplomat, not a scientist. What am I looking at? The ship was empty, Amanda said. No life signs before the attack. No organic matter in the debris. That wasn't a colony ship full of families. It was a decoy. Jake nodded. But the Zephyrians don't know that. They think they just murdered 300 innocent civilians. Why? Would we send a decoy ship? Lisa asked. Amanda turned from the window. Because we needed to know exactly how their weapons work. The ship was packed with sensors that transmitted data right up until the moment of destruction. Now we know the energy output of their main guns, their targeting systems, their shield frequencies. Lisa sat down heavily. We're gathering intelligence. We have been for months, Jake confirmed. Every diplomatic meeting, every cultural exchange, every trade negotiation. We've been studying them. Before Lisa could respond, her communication device chimed. A message from War Commander Thexval requested an immediate meeting. The tone was different from yesterday, more aggressive. An hour later, they sat in the council chamber again. But this time, Thexval did not wait for pleasantries. He activated his holographic display and showed footage of the colony ship's destruction. Your people violated our territorial borders, he announced to the chamber. A human vessel entered restricted space despite our warnings. We were forced to defend our sovereignty. Lisa watched the footage of the ship exploding, even knowing it was empty. The sight made her stomach turn. That ship was carrying families seeking a new home. They meant no harm. Ignorance is not an excuse, Thexval said, his yellow eyes fixed on Lisa. This incident demonstrates why humanity needs Zephyrian guidance. Your species is clearly too primitive to navigate galactic politics safely. Around the chamber, alien observers nodded agreement. The Vorthak representative floated forward slightly. Perhaps it would be wise to accept the Empire's protection before more tragic incidents occur. Lisa felt the trap closing around her. We request a 48-hour extension to consult with Earth about your terms. Thexval's claws clicked against the table. No. The time for delays has ended. You will give your answer now, or my fleets will begin bombardment of your outer colonies immediately. You can't be serious, Jake said. I am completely serious, Colonel Morrison. Thexval touched his communication device. I have 200 warships positioned throughout human space. Your defense satellites have been identified and neutralized by our advanced scouts. Your 12 military vessels would not last 10 minutes against a single Zephyrian destroyer. The chamber fell silent. Lisa could hear the hum of the station's air recycling systems. Around the gallery, alien faces watched with detached interest. They had seen this scene before. We need time to evacuate our civilians, Lisa said. You should have considered that before sending ships into our territory, Thexval replied. You have 1 hour to decide. Submit to protectorate status or watch your colonies burn. Amanda leaned forward. What assurance do we have that you'll honor the protectorate agreement? Thexval's mouth opened in what might have been amusement. Dr. Ross, your species has no choice but to trust us. You have no military power, no advanced technology, no allies. The Empire is offering you survival. That is more than most species. Receive. Most species, the Klaxon representative clicked. Do not receive terms at all. The Empire simply takes what it wishes. Lisa stood up slowly. We need to contact Earth. You may contact them from here, Thexval said. I want to hear your government's response myself. Lisa activated her communication device and sent a priority message to Earth. While they waited for a response, Thexval shared more intelligence about human defenses. His scouts had mapped Earth's orbital platforms, identified the locations of human military bases, even tracked the movements of civilian shipping. Your species is remarkably transparent, he commented. No encryption. We cannot break no stealth technology worthy of the name. It is almost refreshing after dealing with more devious civilizations. The response from Earth came faster than Lisa expected. President Williams appeared as a hologram, his face grave but determined. Ambassador Carter, he said, I've reviewed the Zephyrian terms. Tell War Commander Thexval that humanity declines his offer. The chamber erupted in surprised sounds from the gallery. Even the normally stoic council members showed signs of shock. No species had ever refused Zephyrian terms when facing certain destruction. Thexval leaned back in his chair. President, Williams, are you certain you understand the situation? My fleets will begin bombardment in 30 minutes. I understand perfectly, Williams replied. Humanity chooses freedom over slavery. Then you choose death, Thexval said. He touched his communication device. All fleet commanders, this is War Commander Thexval. Begin Operation Harvest. Start with the agricultural world designated New Montana. Proceed with orbital bombardment until all resistance ceases. The hologram of President Williams flickered and died. Around the chamber, aliens watched in fascination. They were about to witness the destruction of an entire species. Lisa felt Jake's hand on her shoulder. He was pressing something small and hard into her palm. She looked down and saw a tiny device no bigger than a pill. Amanda's finished her analysis, he whispered so quietly only she could hear. All species mapped. All weaknesses identified. All preparations complete. Lisa closed her hand around the device. Around them, the aliens were already discussing how to divide up human territory after the bombardment ended. None of them noticed. Jake spoke again into his communicator. All stations, this is Colonel Morrison. The harvest moon rises. Repeat, the harvest moon rises. To the aliens, it sounded like poetry, or perhaps a prayer for the doomed colonies. But Lisa knew better. Across human space, people were receiving that message and beginning to act. The peace talks had collapsed. The Zephyrians were moving to attack. But they had no idea what they were really facing. In 30 minutes, they would find out what humanity had been preparing for during 2 centuries of apparent weakness. The trap was about to spring, and Earth was ready to show the galaxy its true face. The main display in the council chamber showed the Zephyrian fleet approaching New Montana. 50 massive warships moved through space in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the system's star. War Commander Thexval watched with satisfaction as his forces closed in on the human agricultural world. Your people appear to be evacuating, he commented to Lisa. The display showed dozens of human ships fleeing the planet, their engines glowing bright as they ran for the outer system. A wise choice, though it comes too late to save them. Lisa watched the screen without expression. Beside her, Jake and Amanda remained silent. Around the chamber, alien observers leaned forward in their seats. The destruction of a species was always entertaining. Human vessels are broadcasting surrender signals, reported a Zephyrian communications officer. They request permission to complete evacuation procedures. Thexval's claws clicked against his chair. Denied. Begin bombardment immediately. Let this serve as an example to any other species considering resistance. The first Zephyrian ships reached firing position above New Montana. Their main guns began to charge, energy building to levels that could crack a planet's crust. Lisa could see the power readings on the tactical display climbing higher and higher. Final transmission from the planet's surface, the communications officer reported. They're begging for more time to evacuate children. Ignored, Thexval said. Fire. The lead Zephyrian destroyer unleashed its main cannon. A beam of pure energy lanced down toward the planet's surface, bright enough to blind anyone looking directly at it. Other ships followed, their weapons adding to the devastating barrage. But something was wrong. Instead of striking the planet, the energy beams bent in midair. They curved away from their targets as if pulled by invisible hands. Several beams struck the Zephyrian ships themselves, causing massive explosions. What is happening? Thexval demanded. On the tactical display, new contacts appeared. Objects that had been invisible moments before suddenly showed up on sensors. They were small, no bigger than shuttles, but there were hundreds of them scattered throughout the New Montana system. Gravity generators, Amanda said quietly. They're creating localized gravity wells to redirect your weapons. Thexval spun to stare at her. Impossible. Humans do not possess that technology. Are you sure about that? Lisa asked. More explosions lit up the display as Zephyrian ships found themselves trapped in shifting gravity fields. Their engines fought against forces that pulled them in different directions. Several smaller vessels were crushed as gravity waves compressed their hulls beyond breaking points. All ships, emergency jump to hyperspace, Thexval ordered into. His communicator! Unable to comply, came the reply. Hyperspace engines are being disrupted by gravity interference. We're trapped in normal space. The human evacuation ships suddenly changed course. Instead of fleeing, they turned back toward the Zephyrian fleet. As they approached, their outer hulls began to shed away like old skin. Underneath were sleek vessels that looked nothing like the cargo ships they had appeared to be. Stealth frigates, Jake said with a slight smile. Hull plating designed to look like civilian vessels from a distance. The hidden human warships moved with impossible speed. They darted between Zephyrian vessels, their weapons cutting through shields and armor that should have been impenetrable. Whatever they were firing, it ignored the energy defenses that had protected Zephyrian ships for centuries. Status report, Thexval demanded. We've lost 12 ships, the communications officer replied, his voice shaking. The human weapons are unlike anything in our databases. They appear to be some form of matter conversion beam. That is impossible, the Vorthak representative said. No species in the galaxy possesses such technology. Lisa stood up from her chair. Colonel Morrison, please show our guests the real tactical situation. Jake activated his own holographic projector. The image that appeared showed not just the New Montana system, but a much wider view of local space. Throughout the region, Zephyrian fleets were under attack by human forces that had appeared from nowhere. How many ships do humans have? Demanded the Klaxon representative. More than you thought, Lisa replied. Much more. The display showed Zephyrian task forces being systematically destroyed across 12 different star systems. Human vessels emerged from asteroid fields, from behind moons, from inside nebulae where they had been hiding for months. The careful formations that had seemed so threatening an hour ago were being torn apart. This is a trick, Thexval snarled. Some form of holographic deception. Is it? Amanda asked. She activated her tablet and transmitted data to the main display. These are real-time sensor readings from your own ships. Your fleet commanders are confirming the attacks themselves. The data scrolled past too fast for most observers to read, but the message was clear. Zephyrian forces were being destroyed, faster than they could respond. Ships that had conquered 17 star systems were being outfought by supposedly primitive humans. Impossible, Thexval repeated. Our intelligence showed that humans have only 12 military vessels. Your intelligence showed you what we wanted you to see, Lisa said. She walked around the table to stand directly in front of the war commander. Did you really think a species that developed faster-than-light travel in less than 2 centuries would be stupid enough to show you their real capabilities? Amanda stood up and joined Lisa. Every cultural exchange, every diplomatic meeting, every trade negotiation was an intelligence-gathering operation. We've been studying all of you for over 100 years. The colony ship you destroyed yesterday, Jake added, was packed with sensors that recorded the exact specifications of your weapons. We needed to know how your energy systems worked before we could develop proper countermeasures. Thexval's yellow eyes darted between the 3 humans. You planned this, all of it. The evacuation of New Montana was completed 3 months ago, Lisa confirmed. The entire planet has been converted into a weapons testing facility. We've been using it to perfect our gravity manipulation technology. On the display, the last Zephyrian ships in the New Montana system were being finished off by human forces. 50 vessels that had seemed unstoppable an hour ago were now space debris. But how? The Ashuri representative sang in crystalline tones. Human technology was centuries behind galactic standards. Amanda smiled for the first time since the talks began. Was it, or did we just want you to think that? She activated another display showing what appeared to be technical schematics. 200 years ago, human deep space explorers found the wreckage of a ship. Not Zephyrian, not Vorthak, not any species currently known to exist. Something older. Much older. The schematics showed technology that made current galactic civilizations look primitive. Gravity manipulation, temporal displacement, matter conversion systems that operated on principles none of the Council species understood. We've spent 2 centuries reverse engineering that technology, Amanda continued. Every human colony, every exploration mission, every seemingly innocent scientific expedition has been working toward this moment. Thexval tried to activate his communication system, but nothing happened. My fleet commands are not responding. That's because we've been intercepting and controlling Zephyrian communications for the past 6 months, Jake said. Your advance. Scouts never actually mapped our defense systems. They were fed false information through hacked communication channels. Lisa returned to her seat, but her posture was completely different now. The nervous, pleading diplomat was gone. In her place sat someone who radiated quiet confidence. So here we are, she said. Your fleets are destroyed. Your communications are compromised. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Now we can have a real negotiation. Around the chamber, alien observers sat in stunned silence. The species they had dismissed as primitive newcomers had just demonstrated military capabilities that exceeded anything in known space. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in the span of a single hour. War Commander Thexval slumped in his chair. What do you want? Lisa's smile was cold as space itself. We want to talk about a new kind of peace, one where Earth has a voice that others actually listen to. The silence in the council chamber stretched for long minutes. War Commander Thexval stared at the tactical displays showing the destruction of his fleets, his yellow eyes wide with shock. Around the gallery, representatives from 47 species watched the humans with new expressions. Fear had replaced curiosity. Lisa Carter stood and walked to the center of the chamber. I think it's time we had an honest conversation about humanity's place in galactic civilization. This is impossible, the Vorthak representative said, its silver skin rippling with distress. Our sensors detected no advanced human technology, no signs of military buildup, no indication of technological superiority. Amanda Ross laughed, a sound that echoed strangely in the vast chamber. That's because you were looking for the wrong things. You expected us to follow the same technological development path as every other species. Energy weapons, quantum shields, faster than light, engines based on known physics. She activated her tablet and projected new images into the air above the table. They showed human colonies, but not as the aliens had seen them before. Instead of primitive settlements, the displays revealed massive underground complexes, hidden shipyards and research facilities that stretched for miles beneath the surface. Every human world you visited was a facade, Amanda continued. What you saw on the surface was real enough, but it was also a careful deception. The real human civilization has been growing in places you never thought to look. Jake Morrison stood and joined his colleagues in the center of the chamber. For 200 years, we've been preparing for this moment. Every time one of your species made contact with us, we learned something new. Every diplomatic exchange gave us insight into how you think and how you fight. He gestured to the tactical display, which now showed the wider galactic region. Red icons marked the locations of major alien military bases, shipyards, and command centers. We know where all of your important facilities are located. We know the specifications of every ship class in your fleets. We know the weaknesses in your defense systems. You've been spying on us, the Klaxon representative clicked angrily. Of course we have, Lisa said. Did you think we would remain ignorant forever? Humans learn. We adapt. We prepare. Thexval finally found his voice. The technology you've displayed is beyond anything in known space. The gravity manipulation alone should be impossible with current scientific understanding. Amanda's smile was cold. Current scientific understanding is limited by what species in this galaxy have discovered so far. But we found something you didn't. The display changed to show star charts dating back thousands of years. Ancient flight paths crossed the galaxy in patterns that suggested a vast, now extinct civilization. We call them the Builders. They existed long before any current species achieved spaceflight. Their technology makes everything you've developed look like stone tools. Where are they now? Asked the Ashuri representative. Gone, Jake replied. Vanished about 50,000 years ago, but they left ruins scattered across the galaxy. Most species have found a few artifacts over the centuries. Small things. Interesting, but incomprehensible. Humans found something different, Lisa continued. We found a complete ship. Not just wreckage or fragments, but an intact vessel with all its technology still functional. It took us 2 centuries to understand even the basics of how it worked. The display showed images of an enormous spacecraft, clearly not of human construction. Its design followed principles that seemed to bend space around it. Even inactive and partly buried, it radiated an aura of power that made current technology seem primitive. The ship was hidden in the asteroid belt of our home system, Amanda explained, cloaked by technology so advanced that we nearly missed it even when we knew where to look. It had been waiting there for 50,000 years. Waiting. For what? The Vorthak asked. For a species intelligent enough to find it and mature enough to use it responsibly, Lisa said. The Builders left detailed records. They had faced a similar situation to what we see today. A galaxy dominated by aggressive species using technology to conquer and control rather than to explore and create. Jake activated another display showing technical readouts that none of the aliens could fully understand. The Builders didn't just disappear. They transcended to a higher form of existence. But before they left, they prepared tools for whoever might come after them. Tools to restore balance to the galaxy. And you believe humans are worthy of such power? Thexval asked. The ship seems to think so, Amanda replied. Its artificial intelligence awakened when our first explorers approached. It began teaching us, slowly at first, then faster as we proved we could handle the knowledge responsibly. Lisa walked back to the table and sat down, but her entire posture had changed. She no longer looked like a desperate diplomat pleading for her species' survival. Instead, she radiated the quiet confidence of someone holding all the winning cards. For 2 centuries, we've been student to a teacher older than your entire civilization, she said. We've learned not just technology, but wisdom. The Builders face the same choice we face now. Use overwhelming power to dominate, or use it to create something better. What do you want from us? The Klaxon representative asked. We want to end the cycle of conquest and submission that has defined galactic politics for millennia, Jake said. No more empires built on fear. No more species forced to choose between slavery and death. Amanda stood and faced the gallery, where representatives from dozens of species watched in silence. We know everything about all of you, your military capabilities, your economic systems, your social structures. We could destroy any of you within hours if we chose to. But we won't, Lisa added quickly, because that would make us no better than the Zephyrians or any other aggressive species. Instead, we're offering something different. She activated her own display, showing a new kind of star chart. Instead of territorial boundaries marked by military force, it showed trade routes, communication networks, and cooperative research stations. A galactic confederation based on mutual benefit rather than conquest. Species working together to explore the universe instead of fighting over pieces of it. And if we refuse? Thexaval asked. Lisa's expression didn't change, but something cold flickered in her eyes. Then you'll find out why the builders chose humans to be their successors. Amanda pulled a small device from her pocket and placed it on the table. It looked harmless enough, about the size of a coin, but the way the aliens reacted suggested they sensed something dangerous about it. This is a phase generator, she explained. Builder technology. When activated, it shifts matter out of normal space-time. Anything caught in its field becomes untouchable by conventional weapons or shields. She pressed a button on the device. For a moment, her hand flickered and became transparent. Thexval tried to grab her wrist, but his claws passed through her arm, as if she were made of light. Complete invulnerability, she said, as she returned to normal space. We have larger versions of these devices installed on every human world and ship. Your weapons cannot touch us if we choose to activate them. The choice is simple, Lisa said. Join us in building something new, or remain isolated while the galaxy moves forward without you. But the days of conquest and empire are over. Humanity will see to that. Around the chamber, alien representatives began talking among themselves in hushed voices. The balance of power they had known for centuries had just been completely overturned. The weakest species in the galaxy had revealed itself to be the strongest, and they were all going to have to decide how to respond. Thexval looked around the chamber, seeing the fear and uncertainty in every alien face. Finally, he turned back to Lisa. What exactly are you proposing? Lisa Carter stood at the center of the council chamber, surrounded by representatives from dozens of alien species. The fear in their eyes was clear, but she also saw something else. Hope. For the first time in centuries, someone was offering an alternative to endless cycles of conquest and submission. We propose the dissolution of the current Galactic Council, she began. This body was created to legitimize Zephyrian expansion and has failed in its primary purpose of maintaining peace. War Commander Thexval shifted in his chair. And what would replace it? The Democratic Alliance of Systems, Jake Morrison replied. A true confederation where every species has an equal voice, regardless of military power or territorial size. Amanda Ross activated a new display showing organizational charts and governing structures. No more protectorates, no more conquered peoples. Every member species maintains complete internal autonomy while cooperating on matters of mutual interest. Such as, asked the Vorthak representative. Scientific research, trade facilitation, exploration of unknown regions, and collective defense against external threats, Lisa explained. We estimate there are at least 12 galaxy clusters within reach of current technology. Imagine what we could accomplish if we worked together instead of fighting over the scraps of this one. The Ashuri representative sang a questioning tone. What role would humans play in this alliance? Lisa exchanged glances with her colleagues before answering. Humans would serve as guarantors of the peace. We have the technology to enforce the alliance's decisions and protect smaller species from aggression. You would rule us, the klaxon clicked accusingly. No, Amanda said firmly. We would guide you. There's a difference. She activated another display showing detailed analyses of each species in the chamber. Social structures, technological capabilities, psychological profiles, even biological vulnerabilities were all laid out in precise detail. We've been studying all of you for 2 centuries, Amanda continued. We know your strengths and weaknesses, better than you know them yourselves. The Zephyrians are natural warriors but poor administrators. The Vorthak are excellent philosophers but struggle with practical engineering. The klaxons are master builders but have difficulty with abstract concepts. You've been manipulating us, Thexval realized. We've been understanding you, Lisa corrected. Every species has unique gifts. Instead of using those gifts to dominate others, why not use them to benefit everyone? Jake stepped forward and addressed the gallery. How many wars have been fought in this galaxy over the past 1,000 years? How many species have been enslaved or destroyed? How much potential has been wasted on conflict instead of creation? The chamber fell silent as alien representatives considered the question. The answer was disturbing. Constant warfare had defined galactic civilization for as long as anyone could remember. The builders faced the same problem, Lisa said. They solved it by transcending the need for physical resources and territorial control. We're not ready for that step yet, but we can. Take the first steps toward it. She activated a final display showing technological specifications that made even the advanced aliens gasp in amazement. Ships that could cross the galaxy in days instead of months. Manufacturing systems that could convert raw energy into any needed material. Terraforming technology that could make dead worlds bloom with life in years instead of centuries. This is what humans have learned from builder technology, Lisa explained. But we're not going to hoard it. Species that join the Alliance will gain access to technologies that will revolutionize their civilizations. And if we refuse? Thexaval asked again. This time, Lisa's expression hardened. Then you'll remain isolated while the rest of the galaxy moves forward. No trade with Alliance members, no access to new technologies, no protection from external threats. Jake activated his communicator and spoke clearly. All stations, this is Colonel Morrison. Display the perimeter. The main tactical display zoomed out to show the entire galactic region. Hundreds of icons appeared, marking the positions of human ships throughout known space. They had been hidden in asteroid fields, nebulae, and empty space between systems. The network was vast and comprehensive. Every major shipping lane, every important system, every communication relay in the galaxy is within range of human forces, Jake explained. We've been building this network for 50 years. Amanda pulled out another device, larger than the phase generator. This is a communication disruptor, builder technology. It can block all forms of electromagnetic transmission across multiple star systems. She didn't activate it, but the threat was clear. Humans could isolate any species from the rest of galactic civilization if they chose to. We prefer cooperation to coercion, Lisa said, but we will not allow aggressive species to continue preying on peaceful ones. The Vorthak representative floated closer to the table. What guarantees do we have that humans will not become the very thing you seek to replace? None, Lisa admitted. Except this. The builder's ship is still watching us. Its artificial intelligence evaluates our actions and our decisions. If we become conquerors instead of protectors, it will withdraw its support and choose another species to guide. The power we wield comes with responsibility, Amanda added. We understand that. It's why we spent 2 centuries preparing instead of immediately using our advantages. Thexaval looked around the chamber, seeing the faces of representatives from species his empire had conquered or threatened. Many of them were nodding approval of the human proposal. What happens to the Zephyrian Empire? It becomes the Zephyrian Federation, Lisa replied. Your military expertise becomes the foundation of the Alliance Defense Force. Your conquered territories become equal members with full rights and representation. And me? You become Secretary of Defense for the Alliance, Jake said. Your strategic knowledge and military experience would be invaluable for protecting peaceful species from external threats. Thexval's yellow eyes widened in surprise. You would trust a former enemy with such responsibility? We would trust a reformed enemy who understands the cost of endless warfare, Lisa corrected. The choice is yours, War Commander. Continue fighting a war you cannot win, or help us build something better. Around the chamber, representatives began speaking among themselves. The old order was crumbling, but something new was taking its place. For the first time in galactic history, a species with overwhelming power was choosing to share it instead of abuse it. The Klaxon representative clicked forward. The Klaxon Confederacy accepts membership in this alliance. The Vorthak Collective agrees, sang the silver being. One by one, species that had spent centuries fearing each other began agreeing to work together. Even some of the former Zephyrian protectorates spoke up, eager to join an organization that promised them equality instead of servitude. Finally, all eyes turned to Thexval. The war commander sat silent for long minutes, weighing his options. His empire was destroyed, his fleet scattered, his people facing an uncertain future. The Zephyrian Empire, he said slowly, accepts membership in the Democratic Alliance of Systems. Lisa smiled and extended her hand. After a moment's hesitation, Thexval reached out and shook it. His claws were careful not to draw blood. "Welcome to the future," she said. As the session ended and representatives began filing out to contact their home governments, Amanda approached the builder's communication device she had used earlier. She activated it and spoke into the ancient technology. "The first step is complete," she said. "Humanity has chosen the path of guidance over domination," a voice answered, speaking in a language older than any current civilization. But somehow, everyone in the chamber understood its meaning. "Well done. The galaxy's children are ready to grow beyond their origins. The next phase of your education may now begin." Lisa looked out through the chamber's windows at the stars beyond. Somewhere among them, ancient wisdom waited to guide young species toward a future none of them could yet imagine. The age of conquest was ending. The age of cooperation had begun, and humanity would be there to help other species take their first steps toward something greater than any of them had ever dreamed possible.